What's up guys, Andre here from Nitecore Singapore. Now, ever notice how solving one problem usually means carrying multiple devices? Right, for years I packed a flashlight for seeing, a power bank for recharging, and some form of mosquito repellent that may or may not work. Right, so 3 separate devices, 3 things to charge, 3 things to forget at home, until I found this NWL30. So at first glance it looks like just another work light, but that would be calling a Leatherman just another pocket knife. So I spent the last couple of weeks testing this in some of the most demanding environments I could find: construction sites, camping in mosquito season, and even during an unexpected 8-hour power outage. And I've got to say, I'm legitimately impressed, not by just what it does, but how it completely shakes up the portable lighting market. So let me show you why this might be the most practical light I've reviewed all year. Before we dive into details, I'm actually giving away this, so just leave a comment telling me what kind of work that you do and how do you think this light will fit into your life or solve a problem you're dealing with. And once this video hits 500 likes, I'll reply to the most interesting comment and send this NWL30 directly to the winner. So I'm genuinely curious to see what kind of creative users you all might have for something like this. So let's take a look at what we're working with here. So in the box, you'll get the NWL30 itself, a USB-C to C charging cable here, storage case, mosquito repellent mats like these. It does not come with any of these in the box. So physical design wise, it's got this really nice boxy industrial look. It's about the size of my palm here, and it weighs around 515 grams without any accessories. It doesn't feel particularly light, but that's because there's a massive 18,000 mAh battery inside. Now there are a few notable hardware features here. First, you got this magnetic base at the bottom with a pulling force about 22 newtons, so it sticks to metal surfaces really well. There's also a 1/4-inch screw hole at the bottom for mounting it on tripods like this, and you've got this 360-degree rotary handle that lets you adjust the lighting angle without having to move the whole unit. I tested the magnets on the underside of a car hood, along with metal shelvings in my garage, and even on a toolbox, and in all cases it's not ultra strong, but it can hold its own weight without any issues. For connectivity, it's got a USB-C charging port here that supports 20 watts input and output, and a USB-A port for 18 watts output. Both ports are covered with this rubber flap here that helps with the IP66 waterproof rating. One of the things I immediately appreciate about the NWL30 is the mechanical control design. Instead of going with touchscreens or soft buttons that might look sleek but unpractical, Nitecore opted for these 2 substantial rotary knobs and 2 physical buttons. So this is crucial for people who will actually be using this in the field. If you're working with gloves at a construction site or during cold weather, touchscreens essentially become unusable. So these tactile controls here give you precise adjustments even with thick gloves on. The right knob controls brightness with a satisfying smooth rotation that gives you stepless adjustment from 50 lumens here all the way up to 3000 lumens. There's just enough resistance so that you won't accidentally change it, but it's easy enough to make precise adjustments. I love this. And the left knob here controls color temperature, letting you go from 2700 Kelvin warm light to 6500 Kelvin cool white. So this is actually more useful than I expected. Now the warm setting here is perfect for evening use when you don't want harsh blue light, while the cooler setting here gives you better visibility for detailed work. The mechanical design also means one less thing to worry about breaking over time. These analog controls are likely to hold up for years of use in harsh environments where digital interfaces might break or fail. So it's a perfect example of practical design winning over flashy tech. The 2 buttons are similarly well designed. The repeller button for mosquito function and the R button for controlling the red light mode. They are raised enough for you to find by touch alone if you can't see in the dark, but recessed enough so they don't get triggered accidentally. At its brightest, this thing puts out an impressive 3000 lumens. For context, that's about 3 times brighter than a typical car headlight. And because it's designed as a floodlight, it spreads the light evenly across a wide area. So I tested this in several environments to see how it performs. In a large warehouse space, it easily illuminates about 50 meters in front of it. In an outdoor construction site, it provides enough light to work comfortably in about a 50-meter radius in front of it. When positioned at the base of a building, it evenly lit up the facade up to 20 meters high, which would be great for inspection work or security applications. Even indoors during a power outage simulation, one NWL30 at low brightness was enough to comfortably illuminate an entire room. At the lower setting of 50 lumens with warm color temperature, it creates a pleasant ambient light that's perfect for extended emergency situations where you need to conserve battery, right? I love using it in this manner. There's a very nice glow here. The stepless brightness adjustment means you can perfectly dial in exactly how much light you need for the situation, conserving battery when you don't need the full output. Now let's talk about the mosquito repelling function, which is actually more significant than I initially expected. Nitecore has built their successful EMR series like the EMR40 here, EMR30, EMR10 using the same proven heating element and repellent pad system. The NWL30 has two repellent modes. Low mode creates an 11 meter protection zone for up to 17.5 hours, while high mode extends to 16 meters for 12.5 hours. To activate the repellent mode, just press once and hold. You see the blue indicator charges up, and you can see the heating element warming the repellent mat. The repellent mats themselves are very convenient. They come in boxes of 30 and each pad lasts about 4 to 6 hours depending on which mode you are using. They are the same ones used across all Nitecore repellent devices, so which makes replacements easy to find. What I found particularly useful is that you can run the light on its lower setting with the warm yellow tone here and have the repellent function active simultaneously, creating this really comfortable mosquito-free zone for outdoor activities. And because of that massive 1800 mAh battery, you can do this for multiple evenings on a single charge. So during testing, I set this up during several outdoor dinners in peak mosquito season, and the difference was noticeable. Where we would be normally swatting away bugs every few seconds, the area around the light remained insect-free. Now for battery life testing, I ran this at 3000 lumens continuously. Nitecore claims about 7.5 hours at the highest setting, but in my testing I got it close to 7 hours before it started to dim down. Okay, so that's still impressive considering how actually bright this thing is. Since this is designed as a floodlight rather than a spotlight, the light distribution is incredibly even. I tested it illuminating a warehouse floor, and you don't get those harsh hot spots you often see with more focused lights. So one feature I really appreciate is that you can use all functions while the light is charging. This means if you're working at a location with power access, you can keep the NWL30 plugged in and still using the lighting and still using the mosquito repellent, and even the power bank functions simultaneously because there are two ports at the back. So this essentially gives you unlimited runtime when you are near a power source while still having the flexibility to go portable when needed. So you can have this plugged in as your regular work light, and if power suddenly cuts out, it seamlessly switches to battery power without any interruption in light output. So this pass-through charging feature makes it incredibly versatile for both fixed installations and portable use. Now heat management is decent. It does get warm after running at full brightness for about 30 minutes, especially so if you use the repellent mode together and in front at 3000 lumens, but not uncomfortably hot. That's because it does have a thermal protection feature that automatically regulates the output to maintain optimal performance. Charging the NWL30 from empty to full took about 3.5 hours using a 20-watt charger, which matches Nitecore's claims. And when using as a power bank, it charges my phone without any interruptions. So where does something like this actually make sense in real world? For mechanical work, this thing is actually perfect. The magnetic base is strong enough to stick to the underside of a car hood or even underneath the chassis. Being able to rotate the light 360 degrees means you can point it exactly where you're working. Brightness adjustments lets you dial in exactly how much light you need without blinding yourself with reflection of engine components. For security and overnight work positions, the combination of features start to make even more sense. The light can be dialed down to a warmer temperature for better comfort during long shifts. The mosquito repellent creates a bug-free zone so you're not constantly swatting at insects, and the power bank functions means communication devices stay charged throughout the night. It's one of those rare cases where having multiple functions in one device is actually more practical than separate specialized tools. In emergency or disaster scenarios, the NWL30 really shows its value. You need lighting, you need charging capability for essential devices, and in many disaster situations, insect-borne diseases become a serious concern. So having all three functions in one ruggedized package that can quickly be deployed makes a lot of sense. The IP66 rating means it'll keep working even in harsh weather conditions as long as you keep the USB port cover properly sealed. So after seeing how this holds up in different environments, the next question is, how does it compare to dedicated alternatives? If you compare this with Nitecore's earlier NWL20 model, which by the way is still doing very well today because of how useful it is, the NWL30 is in a totally different league. Right, the NWL20 was copied a lot, right? OLED had them as well. Look at, it's almost the same, right? Then they had the OLED swivel. It looks like they all came out of the same factory, just different colors. Then a few other brands had the same design as well. All smaller, cheaper and easier to carry. But if you want something that's more heavy duty, longer lasting, and lights up a large area, the NWL30 is the one to go for. Now if we look at alternatives from other brands like ALS, almost similar in design. Look at that, size is also the same. But Nitecore's sheer technical innovation shine through with 3 times the brightness, 3 times the runtime, and far superior controls, and a mosquito repellent to top up everything off. So if you only have space in your tool bag for just one light, the answer is obvious. Nitecore is far ahead of the game at this point. So should you buy the Nitecore NWL30? If you find yourself thinking, hey, well, that's quite useful throughout the video, then 100% yes. There is nothing like this in the market today. You get a very capable work light with adjustable brightness, color temperature, an effective mosquito repelling function that uses Nitecore's proven pads and from their EMR series, and a substantial power bank, 18,000 mAh, all in a very durable package with magnetic base and 360-degree adjustability. The real magic here is the integration. So instead of carrying a lantern plus a EMR 30 or 40 here plus a power bank, you've got everything in one device that leverages that massive 18,000 mAh battery. And it comes in its own carry case as well. I particularly appreciate Nitecore's decision to stick to mechanical controls rather than touchscreens or digital interfaces. They might look flashier, but far less practical in real-world situations. It's a design choice that shows they understand their actual users. Now the price puts it as a premium category for portable work lights, but considering you're getting 3 devices in one, the value proposition makes a lot of sense for anyone who need more than just illumination from their portable lights. Links to check it out are in the description below. Let me know in the comments what kind of work do you do and would you use this NWL30 in your line of work. I'll see you in the next video. MJ signing out.